Surprise live. Here we are.
It's Susie and Kristen here with a Ready, Set, Treat for a surprise pop-up Sunday night video. Mm-hmm. And what are we here to talk about tonight, Kristen?
So we're here to talk about scheduling and how you can customize your schedule in private practice. And it's one of the big draws behind why we're in it too.
Yep.
So one of the most recent scheduling things that we've had come up was we had a 2-hour delay for school last week. And the beauty of private practice was we could reschedule clients so that we could still stay home with our kids and accommodate that.
Yep.
And then still see the clients we needed to see. Versus working for a job that said, I don't care that it's snowing, come on in. Medicare needs, you
live a half an hour away, but you still have to come in.
Yeah. So that was one of the cool things that happened this week that helped with our scheduling. And then you had a meeting the same day.
I did. I had an IEP meeting for my son, and I was able to rearrange my treatment schedule so that I could leave, go to my meeting, come back, and I didn't miss a single session, so that was great. And I know, Kristen, you've had family members with ongoing medical concerns that you were able to really change your schedule to address.
Yep, so you can change your schedule for that. Make sure you still see your clients. My husband was recently between jobs, and I increased my schedule a lot so that I could kind of cover the bills still.
Yep.
And that was fantastic too. I wouldn't have been able to do that working for another company. So I was able to just increase my caseload by about 10 clients per week, which, like we always say, are arbitrary $100 a session. So if I'm seeing 10 extra kids a week, that's $1,000 extra a week arbitrarily.
Hi, Chad.
Hey, Chad. And
Hi, Bridget.
So then that translated into an extra $4,000 a month, we'll just say arbitrarily, if that's what I was charging.
Yep.
So you can kind of adjust your schedule as your family needs you to, and as you need to, or for holidays or something like that to save up money for Christmas or holiday gifts.
I recently adjusted my schedule to knock off my bottom session of the day because I don't like getting up early in the morning, and I don't like getting out the door fast, so I actually roll in around 10 a.m. For my first client, but I can do that because I am in charge of my own schedule.
Right, and then I do more of like a 9 to 3 schedule, so I drop my kids off, get in, I see clients basically back to back from 9 to 3, get my kids at school, and I'm done. So I don't need to pay for before or after school care or anything like that with my kids when they're home. So that's cool too.
We get asked a lot about, is it actually feasible to have a schedule that's just during school hours, especially as you're trying to build up your caseload. And both Kristen and I work pretty much between the hours of 8 or 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. for me. And we're done by 3 or 4, depending on what our family situation is. And we've been doing it for years.
Yeah, and it's been fine for years. It's been steady and consistent. It's been absolutely fine. The biggest thing for me is, I think, taking various insurers in addition to the Medicaid, the state plans. So, we're listed in all of their provider directories. It's easier for people to access us.
Yep.
So I think that helps with consistency. So we don't really have to market or advertise. And I think that if you're private pay only, I would guess that unless you're a pretty big name in the field, you probably have to continuously market to prove why someone should pay you for services that they could get elsewhere for, getting their insurance to pay for it.
And when we say big name in the field, we don't mean you need to be like a published author or anything like that. It's just that you have a little bit of street cred behind you, instead of just maybe a newbie that's just started a practice and nobody really knows your name or name recognition. Looks like we've had a couple people join our video. If you guys want to say hi and tell us who you are and where you're from, that would be great. That way we know what to talk about or who to gear it towards, whether it be OT or mental health. I wanted to talk a little bit about going out on maternity leave while I was in private practice. I've successfully done it twice. My first child was born when I was still working for the public sector. And I did get pregnant about a month into me starting my private practice, which was a little overwhelming, and I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to do maternity leave when I worked for myself, because you don't get vacation days in private practice, you don't get FMLA, you don't get disability if you're a sole provider. So the way that I approached maternity leave is I saved a little bit of money up as a cushion, and then as I was approaching my due date, I picked a day that was going to be my final day at the office. For my second child, it was, I think, New Year's. I think I finished like at the end of the year, and then it gave me the months of January and the beginning of February to finish up all of my admin work because I didn't want to have any loose ends. I wanted all of my claims submitted. I wanted all my treatment notes done. And let's be honest, you know, when you're 38 weeks pregnant, it's really hard to sit in a chair and pay attention and be a good therapist. And in terms of clients, I kind of had to triage, okay, this person is going to terminate. In fact, I found maternity leave to be an awesome time to kick a bunch of clients out that maybe had been seeing me for a really long time, that didn't need to see me, but it was just habit, or I was, you know, they felt more confident in themselves if they were coming to sessions. But I'd say, you know what, I think this is a great time for you to take a 3-month break, just like I'm taking a 3-month break, and let's see how it goes. And a lot of those people didn't return, which to me told me that I did my job and that they are thriving out in the real world without me. That's the trouble with being good at what you do. People leave. So I had people that just terminated altogether. I had people that weren't able to terminate. Maybe it was a newer client that still had a lot of treatment goals left. And I transferred them to another therapist that was going to be covering my maternity leave. This was someone that I trusted and that I knew was legit and maybe had a similar treatment style as mine. So I wasn't just handing them away to anybody.
Right.
And I transferred them about a week or two before I knew I was going out on leave so that I could also consult with the other therapist to talk about what their remaining treatment goals were, that sort of thing. And then I had clients that didn't really need to terminate yet, but didn't need consistent care over the course of the 3 months. And I actually scheduled a day every month while out on maternity leave, and I saw about 8 to 10 people, you know, back to back to back on that day, just for continuity of care. And the other thing is that paid my rent and my utilities for every month that I was out on maternity leave, which I think is something that people are concerned about when they're in private practice and are taking a leave of absence for any reason. I am not stay-at-home mom material. I get really antsy at home with my kids. I love my kids dearly, but I really was itching to go back to work. So for me to go in once a month for a day and like put my therapist hat back on was amazing. Right. I really enjoyed that. And then it paid the bills. So that's kind of how I approached maternity leave. And about at the 8-week mark, you know, I took 12 weeks off for everybody. I started sending out emails and whatnot to people that I got referrals from, whether it be doctor's offices, schools, DCYF, social services, juvenile justice, just alerting them like March 1st is my first day back at the office and I'm taking referrals now because I can schedule people a month out and then they are prepared to come back in. And it would take me about 6 to 8 weeks total to get my caseload back up to my sweet spot, which for me is great. Yeah. And then also as I was easing my way back into work after maternity leave, it wasn't like I was coming back to a crazy full caseload. I was able to kind of ease my way back in because there definitely is a learning curve. You know, you get your spiels and stuff that you do for an intake or for a session. And when you've been out of practice, you get into the office and it's like, so that was a nice way to kind of ease back in. So that's how I handled maternity leave. I've done it twice now. It was successful both times. I'm happy to let, you know, if you guys have questions specific to maternity leave, feel free to message me and we can talk about it. But it's definitely doable and should not be a deterrent to private practice because realistically, private practice makes having kids and being a parent, I think, so much way more easier.
That's why I did it. Yeah.
Last week, not only did I have an IEP meeting, but my daughter got sick with a fever, so she couldn't go to school one day. Guess what? My babysitter dropped her off at my office, and she sat with a tablet in the room and just chilled out until I was done with my session before I could take her to urgent care. She's totally fine now. But I definitely couldn't have done that at, you know, an agency-based job. So that is definitely a convenient factor of private practice as well.
Yep, and you can look into doing teletherapy during a maternity leave or something like that too. If you feel like, you know, you don't really feel like you're ready to get out of the house or anything like that, but maybe you could dedicate a couple hours a week to doing teletherapy sessions and you could still make, you know, a little bit of money while you're off if you feel like you can handle it.
This requires you to shower, put clothes on, that sort of thing.
You can look like professional from here up and then you're all set. You can
In fact, you have no idea what we have on below, right? Do we have jammy pants on? Do we have jeans on? Nobody knows.
Some nights we do. So,
Yes.
you really never know. So that's the cool part about private practice too, is you can just kind of mold what you need for your own life.
Yep.
And for summers, for me, I have my infamous 2-day work week and my 5-day weekend.
Yep.
So I think that's fantastic. And I see kids, back to back from maybe 9 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. It's intense. It's exhausting.
Yep.
I see 2 days in a row, so it's 2 days of a lot. But then I'm done. And for 5 days, I am chilling on the beach. I'm kayaking. I'm in Maine. Yep. Just hanging out and enjoying the summer.
I miss Kristen over the summers because on the 2 days that she is working, we're like ships passing in the night. We barely even make eye contact because she's not eating lunch with me every day like she does during the school year. And then she's not in the office for the other couple of days. But it definitely works for you.
Yeah, it works for me. And then you do groups sometimes too.
I do,
so Susie and some other therapists that we work with also tend to sometimes run summer groups. So because the gym is so empty with me not being there, then they have kind of more wiggle room to have groups of kids there.
Yes.
So then they do that during the summer too.
And that kind of reminds me of how I plan my schedule. Even though I'm not associated with schools, I plan my schedule around a school year because I see mostly kids and I have a schedule that is consistent from September to June. And I like to give everybody the same time slot. So if you're Tuesday at 2:00, then you are always Tuesday at 2:00 until further notice. But then come summer, my hours change. I start a little bit earlier, I end a little bit earlier, so I have the afternoon to go to the beach or go get ice cream with my kids or whatever the case may be. And then also I incorporate camps into my schedule. So I do something called Lego League with our speech therapist, Emily Booth, which is pretty popular. It always fills up. It's a really fun way for me to mix things up and not necessarily feel stale in the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
But when I'm filling out my schedules, I get this I literally print out a schedule on a piece of construction paper and I write down people's names Tuesday, 2:00, and I'll say, choose your summer slot and then choose your fall slot as well. Because realistically, the summer is like 8 to 10 weeks long.
It's so fast.
And if you're seeing someone every other week, you might only see them 3 or 4 times, depending on people's vacations and whatnot. But the beauty of that is I start my summer full, but then my fall is already full too once I'm transitioning out of summer because I'm having people choose a summer slot and a fall slot at the same time. I'm usually the person that instigates all this. I'm like, Kristen, get your summer schedule
oh,
ready.
no, it's time for that.
Because Kristen and I collaborate so much. A lot of times she sees the child and I see the parent, and we try to book them in the same time. Therefore, they only have to come to our clinic one time during the week, which I think is really convenient. For everybody.
It's so convenient.
Yep.
So we try to line them up and just take into account our clients' needs. A lot of clients are going on vacation during the summer too. So sometimes there are times it feels like almost everyone's bi-weekly just based on their vacations, my vacations.
Yeah.
So it's a funky time of year that probably wouldn't be appreciated by an employer if I were to say I'm going to cut down.
You definitely aren't meeting your quotas.
That would not
and that
work.
sort of thing. Yeah.
So, so that's the beauty of it. It just, you can adjust it to your own needs in your own family schedule and do what you want to do, and clients are typically fine with everything. You know, they're flexible too, and they appreciate changing for the summer as well.
So we've talked about scheduling around inclement weather with snowstorms, scheduling around sickness with your kids, scheduling around personal appointments or meetings that you have to go to, just your personal schedule. I'm a night owl and I like to sleep in, so I'm able to work around that. We talked about how we do summers and scheduling in camps and things like that. We talked about maternity leave. So you, bottom line, get to choose your own schedule, which I think is probably one of the hugest pros.
Oh, it's such a pro.
To having a private practice.
Yeah, when my kids were really little, when I first started, I think I worked 2 days a week for a long time when I did mobile therapy out in the community. And then I bumped it up to 3 days a week. And it helped me save on childcare and helped me be home with them too.
Yep.
And then as they hit, elementary school full time, then I kind of dug in a little deeper and went 4 days a week, school hours, and took Fridays off. And every Friday's off for both of us.
Yeah, we don't work Fridays.
And it seems like a lot of people who own businesses take Friday, across the board, not just healthcare.
Yeah.
A lot of us are off Fridays. So it's a great schedule to have. So
yes.
Yep. So it's a beautiful thing. So comment below if you have any questions about scheduling or any scheduling needs that you feel like you might need to kind of bounce ideas back and forth on.
And I think also, if you can take away one thing from this video, is remember what your sweet spot is. Just because you have time in your schedule doesn't mean that you should book it. So if my sweet spot is 20 clients a week, that realistically, if I break that down into 5 clients a day, that's only 4 days worth of work, 5 clients a day. Do not book more than your sweet spot, and allow some breathing room into your schedule.
So you can get your notes and billing done too.
I did see just one quick mention of something that somebody discussed on the group, which I thought was great, is they book Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they use Thursday as a makeup day, which I had not thought of, and I loved that idea, so thank you for sharing that. So if somebody called out sick or had to last minute cancel or wants to avoid a no-show fee by scheduling it within the same week, they can book on Friday, and then if nobody needs to reschedule or on Thursday, if nobody needs to reschedule on Thursday, then it's just an additional admin day that you have. And then Friday, she just completely takes Friday off altogether, doesn't do any paperwork, billing, nothing.
And I think they were long days too, so that's the cool part too. I think she was working 3 long days. And the neat part too is if you have little kids, you're trying to avoid childcare costs because, let's be realistic, they are so high.
Yes.
So some families find that they're able to kind of work opposite shifts with spouses or, kind of fill in childcare that way. So this could work for that type of situation as well. Yeah. So it kind of fits whatever your needs are.
Well, if nobody has any questions at this very moment, this is, last chance to shout out before we say goodbye. Please comment below this video, and we always jump on and respond whenever we can.
Yep, absolutely. So have a good evening, day, whatever time it is when you watch
President's Day
this.
is tomorrow. Maybe some of you are working, some of you aren't. And also, we will be live again on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the topic we'll be discussing is Therapy Square, which is our clinic. There's been a lot of interest as to how we created our clinic, how we structure it, who's in charge. Here's a sneak answer. Nobody's in charge.
We're all in charge.
We're all in charge. But we want to talk a lot about that. So come prepared with your questions. It's going to be a question and answer style live video. So we want to be engaging with you guys and answering on the spot questions. And it's our baby. So we're really excited to talk about it.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see you then.
All right.
All right,
Good night,
bye.
everybody.